Mr. Van Pelt. Give me just 1 second. Okay, we're streaming on Facebook. And I want to make sure we're recording, so let me just check. Scott, are we recording yet? All right, well, let's launch into it. I don't want to keep people waiting. So, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're calling in from. I know we have people coming in from all over the world, as well as on Facebook, and a lot of people will watch the replay. So my name is Diana Rader-Zisselman. My background is in healthcare. I was a pharmaceutical rep years ago for Pfizer, and then I ran a division of a home health company. So the reason I came to Nu Skin was for some flexibility of time and to really travel the world and be able to work from anywhere. But the thing that really got me excited about Nu Skin was the science. So I know that is why we're all here today, to hear about the phenomenal science. I'll give you a little bit of background on Tanner Gibb. If you are not familiar with Tanner yet, you will be very impressed when you get to know this guy. He's been, I don't know, how many years with Nu Skin now, Tanner? How many years have you been with Nu Skin?
15 years this year.
15 years with this year. He is the head of global communication and education for global research and development. That means he travels to all of our markets. Everyone gets to hear from Tanner at some point. He's got an undergraduate degree in biology as well as a master's degree. His expertise is in dietary supplements, technical writing. He is fluent in Spanish, which we have to remember that our dear friend Eduardo Rodriguez is translating into Spanish today. Thank you, Eduardo. And he's got 3 kids. He plays soccer, he coaches soccer, and he's a phenomenal dancer. So if you dance, he's a phenomenal ballroom dancer. So he's got a lot going on. And honestly, I could listen to him all day. So I want to, without further ado, introduce Tanner Gibb. And Tanner and I were speaking about really delving into the biophotonic scanner. Some people already know about the scanner. There's new people on who really don't. I, of course, have mine right here. And it was one of the things that really wowed me when I started with Nu Skin. So Tanner, I would love for you to give everyone a little bit of background on the scanner and just share some of the highlights, why we have it, how we got it, where it came from, and I'll let you go.
Perfect. Now let me show my screen because I have some slides to keep me on track. Hopefully we can address all the questions that come up with the scanner. Oops. Well, let's start from the beginning. That would be good. There we go. So I have rapid fire. Lo siento, Eduardo. We're going to go fast. There's just so much to cover with the scanner. And I want to leave a little bit of time at the end if there's any, other burning questions that we have about it. So we're going to talk about history. We're going to talk how does it work? What does it measure? What does your scanner score mean? Scanner score variability. Do carotenoids correlate to overall antioxidants? What are the scanner certified products and scanner studies? Keep in mind, this is patented technology that is exclusive to Pharmanex. So nobody else in the world has what we have. And it's a key competitive advantage, in my opinion. So let's jump in. Talk about the history of the scanner. It was originally developed actually by experts at the University of Utah. So it had nothing to do with Nu Skin as a company. Gellerman, McLean, and Bernstein, biophysicists that are experts in the area of light and technology. And they created the first skin. Look how hefty that thing is. This is a 10 by 10 liquid nitrogen required out of the University of Utah. Not very practical, not very convenient, but long story short, one of our key sales leaders interacted with some of these leaders and was scanned on this device, introduced this device and this technology to the company. We then licensed it over and commercialized it and created what we have today. But before we have, today, we had the original S1 version. Now, if you've been around for a long time, this took a long time to warm up. 30 minutes, 15 minutes for calibration, 3-minute scan time. So you had to sit there palm of your hand for 3 minutes. You know, you had to have a good long story of what the scanner was measuring, what it's all about. We had putty to actually calibrate the unit. So this was a long time ago. This was before my days at New Skin as well. But we continue to innovate. And this technology, from the S1, we moved on to the S2, which had a 5-minute warm up. It was a 90-second scan. You had a laptop and a barcode reader that was required. So much better, much faster, much lighter. But we continue to innovate. And today we have the S3. It's faster, it's smaller, it's portable, it's digital. Today it's just a 30-second scan. So a lot less is required to talk to the individual while they're getting scanned. It weighs a lot less, and it's just an incredible device, what I call a nutritional lie detector that really is detecting these antioxidants, and you can't cheat the system. That's what I love about it. Unlike dietary surveys, where if you've ever been asked in a survey, like how good your diet is, a lot of us tend to lie a little bit about, oh yeah, I eat my fruits and vegetables, I'm doing really well. And then they come and get scanned and it's like, okay, maybe it's not as good as what I was expecting. So that's a little bit of the history. We've innovated over the years. We continue to innovate into the future. So let's talk a little bit more about the biophotonic scanner. What is the technology all about? So it's based on a technology called Raman spectroscopy. Now, this is a technology of light scattering principles, where if you shine light at a particular wavelength, there can be a shift in the energy of that light, and you can actually measure the shift or that change in the frequency of that light coming back. So if you shine a 478 nanometer light, which is blue, it's a high frequency light. When it hits a carotenoid antioxidant, there's a shift in the energy of that light. They actually call it a Raman shift, and it bounces back as a green light at a particular frequency, and you can measure that with the skin. So just to give you an illustration of how this is working, you can see here with the scanner, with this incredible device, you're shining a light. It's an LED light. And when this blue light hits your skin, right, the palm of your skin, there is a shift in the energy of that light. So the blue light's coming in, it hits some of these carotenoid molecules that are found in the skin, and some magic happens, which we call science or Raman shift. There's a shift in the energy, and it comes back with these photons, and you can measure the intensity of light that's being reflected back by the PMTs that are found inside of the scanner, and out pops a scanner score that you have. Now, keep in mind, we are measuring levels at parts per billion. So in a very complex matrix that is the skin, you're measuring at very, very tiny quantities. And so you would expect a little bit of variation in how complex the measurement is. We'll get into that a little bit later. So let's talk a little bit more about the scanner and what it is measuring. So we're measuring a class of antioxidants called carotenoids. Now, if you haven't heard about carotenoids before, these are super powerful ingredients that are found in a lot of bright colored fruits and vegetables, right? How many of you like your reds, your oranges, your yellows, even your leafy greens, right? Your spinach and your kale. In fact, some of the chlorophyll actually hides some of the brighter colors that are found in these products. That being said, all of these carotenoids have a similar chemical backbone to them, right? Lycopene, lutein, beta carotene gives the orange color to carrots, astaxanthin, which gives kind of a pink hue found in salmon. Zeaxanthin is a very bright yellow color. In any case, this alternating double and single bonds that you can see as part of their chemical structure is actually what allows carotenoids to be a very powerful antioxidant class, because unlike typical antioxidants that usually donate a spare electron, what carotenoids do is they actually absorb free radical hits. They're almost like a sponge that's just soaking up all of these free radicals. And in the case of certain, unlike typical antioxidants that can maybe donate one spare electron to act as an antioxidant, these are sponges that are soaking up 20 plus different free radicals. So that's why they're super antioxidants in their ability to actually neutralize the damaging effect of these free radicals. So we know with carotenoids, we're measuring them in the skin. However, when you look at the bottom here, the National Academy of Sciences has concluded that tissue concentrations of carotenoids are the best biological marker for consumption of fruits and vegetables. So some people ask me, hey, Tanner, well, why don't we just take blood and measure the blood to see what's happening with these carotenoids? Well, that's going to be a little bit more dangerous. It's going to be a little bit more invasive. There are limitations to measuring carotenoids in the blood as well. It's a lot more indicative of what you had for dinner. So if you had a big, lots of carrot juice, or if you had a big bowl of pasta with some tomato sauce and lycopene, right, you're going to detect that in the blood. And that said, we wanted to do a clinical study to see if there's a correlation between what we measure in the blood and what we actually measure on the skin to avoid the need in the first place. And this is exactly what this study did with over 300 individuals. We had them get 3 little blood tests and 3 scanner scores, and then correlate all the plots together to see if we can see a correlation. And this is exactly what we found. A very, very, very direct correlation between what you measure in the blood and what you measure in the skin with the scanner. So this avoids any need to get a blood test, which is the gold standard using HPLC to measure carotenoids. You don't need that. You can get it with the biophotonic scanner. It is that accurate. It is that precise. And it overcomes the limitation in that the scanner is a better biomarker of carotenoid levels in your skin from longer terms, from 1, 2+ months, because we know we're measuring the outside layer of the skin. And it actually, your skin goes through a natural cell turnover process where it's actually exfoliating off some of the dead skin cells. And so it is going to take multiple weeks to actually begin to detect a difference in your diet, in your lifestyle, in your supplementation. But this is actually fantastic correlation study. So let's talk a little bit more about the scanner and why this measurement is actually very important and what it relates to. First and foremost, I'm not going to go through the science of all these studies, but just know that carotenoids are these incredibly powerful antioxidants that are studied for anti-aging. They are studied for mood and mindset benefits. They are studied for metabolic health. They are studied to protect against disability and change in pace, change in walking ability. They are studied for eye health. If you're in the area of lutein and zeaxanthin, there's a lot of research on the benefits of these macular carotenoids in protecting the macula of the eye. It's studied for cognitive health. In fact, there is a new up-and-coming area of research on brain health and carotenoids. It is studied for prostate health for all the older guys out there that want to protect their prostate. Carotenoids are studied for cardiometabolic health. They're studied to protect other tissues in the body, including bone as well. And they have very, very powerful antioxidant properties inside of the body. So that being said, we have this really large database of people who have been scanned and what their score represents. And we know that the actual scanner score is an arbitrary unit of measurement, just like when you stand on a bathroom scale and it measures how much you weigh. It's arbitrary, right? How much you weigh means something because you can actually track it over time and compare it to other people or compare it to yourself and see how that relates to your health. Same thing with the scan score. It's an arbitrary unit of measurement. It's measuring the intensity of light coming back. But what's so powerful about the score is that we have this database where we see correlations with good things, with higher scores, and correlations with bad things, with lower scores. You can see the average score is about 30,000. So that's just getting into the yellow zone. This is going to be over time and over years with a lot of people that are actually taking our products. When you grab a regular consumer in the marketplace and they get scanned, oftentimes their average score is going to be closer to about 20,000. It's much lower. And if you do score and you're average, I don't want you to feel too good about yourself. I say that in a nice way because the average person in America or even around the world is not doing great in terms of health, right? We're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. In fact, 90% of us in America are not getting even the minimum recommendation of fruits and vegetables, which are the best sources of these antioxidants in our bodies. So even if you're average, I mean, it's okay, but you need to change, right? We need to change. We need to be better. So let me just look at some of these correlations, right? If you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, so tomatoes, pasta, carrots, veggies, right? Spinach, kale, you're not going to have an ideal scanner score. Well, what about if you eat more fruits and vegetables, right? The more you eat, especially of these bright colored ones, the higher your scan score is going to be. Well, what if you were to take LifePak as directed and you didn't eat as many fruits and vegetables as you should? Well, LifePak is going to help fill some of those gaps because it has 40+ antioxidants, including a combination of carotenoid antioxidants inside of the formula. Well, what if you're taking LifePak and you're eating a healthier diet, right? These are things that we want to shoot for. This is going to be more of the goal and more of the ideal, right? You're going to start scoring up into that green zone. We really want people to be up in the greens, in the blues, or in the platinum or the purple zone, depending on which version that you're seeing out there, because these higher scores are correlating with better outcomes. Now, on the inverse or the flip side, look, if you're a smoker, you're generally going to have a lower skin score. In fact, we have data in terms of the number of cigarettes that you smoke, or if you're a past smoker or a current smoker. The more you smoke, the lower your skin score. We know that smoking induces a lot of free radicals, a lot of oxidative stress, a lot of damage into your cells, and it's not good for your health. We also have data with obesity. In fact, when you're obese, you have a lot of fat cells. They're actually soaking up some of the carotenoids. And because of that saturation, it's making it more difficult. In addition to obesity, we know is a cause of oxidative stress inside of the body. We have other data looking at things like stress, looking at sunlight. I know we all love our vitamin D, but if you're out in the sun too much, that's going to cause some damage to the skin. It's going to accelerate aging, right? Essentially, things that are causing oxidative stress are going to lower your score, and things that are improving your antioxidant defense network are going to increase your skin score. Now, to sum of this up, we have kind of this fun chart that you have on the iPad or on the phone. If you're connected to the iPhone, we know that the app is going to connect directly to that. These are things like dietary habits. If you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, you're going to have a low score. If you're in the middle, you're in the middle. If you're above average, you're going to have a higher than average scan score. Supplement intake, right? If you're irregular, if you're not taking quality supplements, you're probably going to be, low to the medium end. But if you're a dedicated supplement user, especially with our Scanner certified products that we'll get into, those are things that are going to increase your score. If you're stressed out all the time, we know that stress can create oxidation in the body. If you're exposed to a lot of pollution and breathing in pollutants, whether it be from smoking or from your environment, that's going to be bad. If you're a frequent traveler by air, we know that you're exposed to some ionizing radiation. That's going to cause some damage. It's going to cause some oxidation. It's going to lower your score. In fact, that often happens with conventions where people come out and it was really good. And I was like, well, you just flow. You probably didn't get a lot of sleep. You probably have some mini oxidation going on inside of the body. It's okay. Just compensate and make sure you get your antioxidants, right? And same thing with body composition. So we talked about these things, right? You want to be on the high end for all of these things. Keep in mind, this is not cause and effect, right? You could be someone that is overweight and still has a high scan score, right? You're fighting against nature because there is some oxidation with the overweight or obesity, but at the same time, you can compensate for some of these things by taking better supplements and taking better care of your health and things like that. So just keep that in mind, because some people will ask, hey, I know someone who's obese and they still have a high skin score. Well, yes, this is correlation, not cause and effect. But generally speaking, the correlations, they're not lying. We have a really big database, right? If you're doing the right things, you're going to have a higher skin score. So let's talk a little bit more about the scanner and variability. This is going to be best practices in terms of how to use the scanner. You want to have the position in between, those two little creases on the palm of your hand. Don't be overly concerned about it, but that's kind of a general best practice. And then pressure as well. Not too much pressure, not too little pressure. If you do change some of these things like your hand placement or the pressure on the device, it could alter your scan score a little bit. But above and beyond that, keep in mind, we're measuring at a parts per billion level. We're looking at a matrix of so many other proteins and lipids and fractions of different things that are found in the skin. We're trying to pull out the level of carotenoids and get rid of all the clutter that's found inside the skin. You're naturally going to have a little bit of variability. Just like when you go to the doctor for a blood exam, right? Your blood glucose is going to vary from test to test. Your blood pressure is going to vary from test to test, right? There's natural variation in biological measurements. And to keep it very, very, very simple, pretty much what's going to happen is your THV, or your true hand value. So if you were to scan an infinite number of times, this is your true scanner score. Let's say for you right now, it is 41,000. However, with normal variability in the scanner, if you happen to score in any given time plus or minus one color range, which is usually plus or minus about 7.5% in terms of variability of that actual scan score, that's still considered the same score in terms of statistics. Okay. So if I were to break that up and see like an actual individual and they're scoring, right, you're going to range in between about the 34,000 to about 44,000. that's going to fall within normal variability. So don't get too scared if you like score 39,000 and then go to another device and it's 36,000, right? It's 3,000 points, which seems like a lot, but in terms of just numbers and actual stats, it's a very, very minuscule difference in terms of actual numbers in the scanner. What I want you to focus on with your scanner scores is to look at the trend or to look at the pattern over time. And if for whatever reason you get an outlier and you use the scanner correctly, where it's just super duper high or super duper low. In statistics, do you know what we do with outliers? We throw them in the garbage, right? They don't count. It's an artificial, non-accurate measurement, right? You just get scanned again because it's the pattern, it's the trend over time. For me, my pattern and trend, it began actually in the lower end. I'm not I'm ashamed of it a little bit, but this was before I actually knew a lot about nutrition and cared a lot about nutrition. And my score and my pattern has increased over the years because I take better supplements, I eat more fruits and vegetables, I take better care of my health. So I think that's important for everyone to understand. There is going to be a little bit of variability from scan to scan, but it's the pattern and trend. So let's talk just a little bit more about why carotenoids are a good indicator of overall antioxidants. Now, there's a few key points I want to cover here. Carotenoids are lipophilic, meaning that they are fat-loving molecules. These are fat-soluble, and because of carotenoids in their nature, they're actually found in the membrane of your cell. Now, this is a pretty picture of one cell, and you can see on the outside, we have this membrane. There's actually 2 layers to that membrane. And I'm going to have a picture here, right? We get beta carotene from carrots, and that beta carotene fits very, very nicely inside of your cell membrane. Okay. And there's actually some really cool science that it can actually, as it's being soaked up by different free radicals, it can actually trigger your DNA to make different antioxidant proteins to help fight off overall antioxidant or overall free radicals inside of a cell. That being said, if you are a free radical, just imagine, and you're trying to get inside of a cell, you have to pass through this membrane to actually get inside of the cell to get to the, through the cytoplasm to actually get to the DNA or get to the proteins that are floating around inside of the cell. If you want to get there, you have to go through the membrane first. So the point I want you to understand here is that carotenoids are the first line of defense against free radical damage. So you have these free radicals, before they penetrate, they need to go through that membrane. And if you have healthy levels of carotenoids like beta carotene, like lycopene, like zeaxanthin, right? All these different kinds, then they have a harder time penetrating and getting to the cell and doing damage to other antioxidants. So they're the first line of defense. Another key point here is that carotenoids are chain-stopping antioxidants, meaning that when you have these different free radicals, and I'm not going to get in depth here because it can get too technical here, but we're exposed to all of these different oxidative stressors in our life, from pollution, smoking, sunlight, stress, and they interact with polyunsaturated fatty acids to create these different types of hydroxyl, peroxyl, different types of free radicals. There's more than just one type, by the way. It's very complicated. But what these free radicals do is they interact with vitamin E. Vitamin E donates a spare electron, and then vitamin E becomes less stable. So vitamin C can actually recycle the vitamin E antioxidant power that it has inside of a cell. And then vitamin C needs a little bit of help. So alpha lipoic acid or glutathione comes along and donates a spare electron to vitamin C. So it actually recycles the antioxidant power of vitamin C. This is how a network actually works inside of our bodies. And then we have NAD. These are these niacin-based enzymes that are part of a never-ending cycle inside of the body. The point I want to share here is that carotenoids, they block this entire chain reaction of free radical damage to these other antioxidant vitamins and nutrients that we have inside of the body. So they're not only the first line of defense, they stop this whole chain reaction of free radicals that are damaging these other vitamins inside of the body. And because they are sacrificial in nature, what happens is once your carotenoids are used up by free radicals, there's nothing that regenerates them or recycles them in the body, right? Once they're done, they're done. So this is why they're also a good indicator of overall antioxidant status for those reasons as well. I got one more reason too. There are clinical studies that actually assess and confirm that carotenoids are the best indicator of overall antioxidant status. In this particular study, they showed that carotenoids are a better indicator of antioxidants compared to alpha, beta, delta, and gamma tocopherols. These are forms of vitamin E, or glutathione, which is considered a master antioxidant inside of the body. So in terms of a biomarker, the studies actually show that carotenoids, and because of those reasons I already mentioned, they're the first line of defense, they're found in the membrane, and because they are chain-stopping antioxidants, they really are the best indicator of all of these other antioxidants. So some people might ask me, hey, Tanner, so why don't I just, go get all of these other antioxidants tested? Well, because of these reasons that I just mentioned, it is a very good indicator of all of these other things. And I'm not going to stop there. I got one more study here to share with you as to why they're the best biomarker. This is a clinical study that was done over 300 people. We looked at serum carotenoids, vitamin C and E. We looked at scanner scores, and we looked at F2 isoprostanes. F2 isoprostanes is a biomarker of oxidative stress. So we wanted to see how well carotenoids correlate to these things, positive or negative. As you can see here, and I already kind of covered this briefly, there was a direct correlation between serum and skin levels of carotenoids, right? In addition, there is a correlation between the levels of vitamin C and E that you have and carotenoid levels as measured by the biophotonic scanner. In other words, the scanner score is a good indicator of if you have a higher score, you also have higher levels of vitamin C and E. So it's actually proven in literature and in our research. In addition, skin carotenoids are negatively correlated, or there's an inverse correlation between oxidative stress and your scanner score. In other words, we proved here that if you have higher levels of oxidative stress, you have a lower scan score. And if you have lower levels of oxidative stress, you have a higher scan score. So based on all of these reasons, there's a very compelling argument that carotenoids are not only the best biomarker of fruit and veggie intake, they are the best biomarker of all of these other nutrients that even if you do go to the doc and get a blood test and look at some of these things, oftentimes they're a good indicator of only acute changes in diet and lifestyle. They're not long-term. Number two, some of the nutrients are actually very difficult to measure in the blood, like magnesium. Anyone here know that only 1% of the magnesium in your body is found in the blood, and that blood levels of magnesium are actually not a really good biomarker of tissue levels of magnesium? So it's almost like this false positive that you're getting with some of these other nutrients, but you don't need to because of how powerful carotenoids are and how they're being measured with biophotonic scanner. Okay, what are scanner certified products? This is where we get to some of the products and some of the fun stuff. Look, these are products that are certified by the scanner. That means that there is a guarantee that if you use the products as directed, and there are details on the website where pretty much you get one of these products on the ADR, you get your scan score before and after for 60 days, it's 90 days for the I formula, and you use the product as directed, we guarantee an increase in your scanner score or your money back. So it's kind of a no-risk policy where it's like, hey, look, if you've ever wanted to try one of these products and get scanned before and after, you're going to see that increase in your score. You're going to see that increase in your antioxidant defense. Now we have Life Pack Nano, which is kind of a premier multivitamin plus omega-3s and good bioavailability. We have regular Life Pack, which doesn't have the omega-3s. I highly recommend you pair that with ageLOC Youth or one of our omegas. We have ageLOC Youth, which is kind of our ultimate anti-aging supplement that we sell. It's one of my personal favorites. We have G3 for those that love liquid magic. We have G3, which are these super fruits featuring the GAC fruit, very rich in lycopene and beta carotene. We have Junglemals, we have iFormula, and we have Collagen Plus. I do want to clarify, we have Collagen Plus in a liquid and in a powdered format. Either format, it doesn't matter which one you're taking, it's going to have the same improvement in your scanner score. So these are all SCS certified products, and they're all fantastic in their own right. Let's talk a little bit about the clinicals. I know I already mentioned some studies, but there's more studies. I'm going to go through them very quickly here to wrap it up. We did a clinical study on many of these scanner certified products to just show the proof that these products are increasing your scanner score. And I do want to mention, none of them are just pure carotenoid supplements. They have a whole blend of so many other nutrients that are good for your health. This is just an indicator of some of the nutrients that are being absorbed very efficiently inside of the body. So we have it with Life Pack. You can see an increase in your scanner score over time. We did a double-blind placebo-controlled study with LifePak Nano, and you can see that there is a steady increase over time. I do want to point out here that it's not the same increase from week to week, right? Some go up a little bit more than others, but overall, it's the pattern or the trend over time that I want you to focus on when you start taking our products. And you compare that to a placebo, like I mentioned before. If you're not regenerating new carotenoids from diet and lifestyle, they're being diminished inside of the body. So that's why they're absolutely critical to supplement in your life. We have a G3 study. We did actually our own internal study. This is a third-party clinical study done on G3 in children that was published in 2015. And even in children, we actually see a really, really nice increase in their skin carotenoid score from taking G3 as directed. So really, really fun research there. We have a Scanner study with Age-Lock Youth, our premier anti-aging supplement that targets gene expression and different defense mechanisms in the body. You can see a really nice increase over 12 weeks from taking Age-Lock Youth. And we have a clinical study with our Collagen Plus supplement as well. If you care about collagen and you care about beauty from within, this is the product for you. And in this study, you can see that with the placebo group, there's really no change, maybe even a slight decrease. But with Collagen Plus, we can see a nice significant increase in scanner score over time. There's a really nice immediate bump, even after just 1 month, but after 4 months, it continues to increase over time. So these are just a few of the resources I wanted to point out. We have the product information page on the right, which is a great resource. We have, for those that are nerds like me, we have a document where we put together references from scientific studies. There's over 100 peer-reviewed articles that validate the technology behind the scanner. In other words, this technology for measuring carotenoids, how this correlates to different health outcomes, you can actually see that in the scientific literature. Many of them are done with our device, and they're absolutely fantastic studies. And then we also have a compendium of abstracts for those that are interested in just reading up on some of the abstracts that have been done with our biophotonic scanner. We have that document as well. So if you just call into product support, they have these documents and they can share those with you. So hopefully I've put you to sleep by now with all of this information on the scanner, but let me stop sharing and see if there's any questions that you have.
So I've been kind of monitoring questions. I have to point out too, Dr. Suzanne Lamott, who's a pediatrician, said that there are studies that carotenoid scores in premature infants actually can predict their health and survivability. So super important. And just for the record, I've been miseducating people now for 13 years on why we measure carotenoids. So I'm glad I know now the real story on why we do that. Let's see someone asked what biomarker means.
Oh, biomarker, it's just a fancy term for something that represents something else, right? So carotenoids are a good biomarker or representation of the level that you have in the body or the amount of fruits and vegetables that you eat. And I might point out that it's even more accurate than dietary surveys. I kind of hinted at this on the call, but if somebody asks you, hey, how many fruits and vegetables do you eat? Let's be honest, you might lie a little bit and be like, oh yeah, I eat 5 servings, but in reality, you eat only 2, right? You might be average. And
You're
the
giving
scanner,
him on a good day.
Exactly, on a good day, right? But the bottom line is that with the scanner, you can't cheat the results, right? It's a good indicator of these carotenoids, the amount of fruits and vegetables that you're eating, as a good indicator of maybe where you are and changes that you need to make in your diet and your lifestyle and your supplementation to actually improve that score and get to where you want to be.
Great point. I'm curious, where do we find that compendium, the compendium of research for the scanner? Is it on the website?
It's not on the website because it's more of a science-based document, but if you call into product support or if you email them, they can send it out to you. They have it.
Perfect. This is a good question that someone else though asked about the product info page. That is actually on the website. If you go to any product on Nu Skin website and scroll down under resources, you'll find the product information page. Someone mentioned the amount of sugar in G3. And I know there's a difference obviously between fruit sugar and sugar. Clearly you don't want people drinking bottles of G3 because it has a high amount of fruit-based sugar. But as an expert in nutrition, what would you say to someone who's concerned about that?
Yeah, as an expert in nutrition, I'm actually not concerned about the level of sugar in G3, to be honest with you. I know sugar is often demonized, but when you actually read studies randomized studies on health and wellness, it's the excess amounts of sugar, not sugar as is, that is actually damaging and harmful to the body. So if you are in a caloric excess and you take extra sugar, yes, it can be converted to fat in the body. It can be stored in different organs. That is going to be problematic. But sugar on its own, your body runs on sugar. Your body loves sugar, right? It breaks down carbohydrates. You actually look at parts of the world that live for a long time, like in the Okinawa diet, they eat a lot of sweet potatoes. It's a starchy carbohydrate. That's one of their prime staples. And as long as you're not in an excess, sugar is a great fuel for the body, right? It breaks down carbohydrates into glucose. That being said, there's no added sugars to G3. It's already sweet enough as is, but these are just the naturally occurring sugars that are found inside of the product. There's going to be 8 grams per serving. Just to put it in perspective, 8 grams is a lot less than what you get in a regular apple. You know, in an apple, you're probably going to be getting 16 to 20 grams of sugar anyway. So just, I think when we put it in perspective, like, okay, an apple a day is going to be great. A serving of G3 is going to be great. It's not going to lead to an excess. I think it actually tastes really good. Great for the whole family. I have my kids that take G3, and it's a great source of vitamin C in addition to these carotenoids in very absorbable forms that we call lipokeratines because of the natural fatty acids that exist in the GAC fruit that help with the absorption of these hard to absorb antioxidants.
Perfect. I know we want to keep it tight here. So 2 questions. One, someone wanted to know, why don't they, in most supplements, many supplements, you urinate them out and you can smell it. You can smell the supplements. Why does that not occur with LifePak and LifePak Nano?
It's a great question. I think number one is that we're not using mega doses of ingredients that your body doesn't need, right? Any excess, you can just pee it out and it's not doing you any good. But number two, and perhaps the more important point, is that when we evaluate the nutrients that go into LifePak and LifePak Nano, we want to make sure that we use safe amounts of ingredients, but also bioavailable forms that are actually absorbed and utilized instead of the body, instead of just excreted as waste, if that makes sense. So I think those are the 2 main reasons why you're getting the full benefit when you take LifePak and LifePak Nano, because the science that's behind it.
Awesome. So don't want to get off the phone without asking about the future of the scanner. What can you tell us about the future of the scanner?
Oh, the future, everybody always wants to know, right? What's in store? Look, I sit right next to our scanner team, and I do need to be careful with not sharing too many secrets. I can tell you it's in our product pipeline, Scanner 4.0, or whatever we're going to call it. We have a prototype. I've seen it. I've been part of testing. We're exploring different ways to make it a little bit more precise, a little bit more accurate. We're exploring different areas like looking at the palm of the skin versus the fingertip for just simplicity of use and different things like that. Some other cool aspects related to technology too. There's a lot of exploration that is underway. So stay tuned. I don't have a date or anything like that yet, but we do have a prototype. It's on the calendar. And I think it's an example as a company, you know, we continue to innovate. If we would have stopped with the S1, it just wouldn't be the same as it is today, right? We had the S1, the S2, the Everest Edition, the S3. We continue to innovate and make things better. And I'm super excited about the scanner and what it can do, well, today as is, but also in the future.
So is there any possibility it will be a smart device like some of our other ones that communicate? I love the smirk on your face.
Yeah, let's just say everything is on the table right now. So there's a lot of different things that are being explored. We know that AI is part of our future. We're looking at how do we integrate smart technology and so on and so forth with it. So I don't want to promise or guarantee anything because things can always change when we explore different avenues in science. But I'm very impressed, and I'm a skeptic at heart. So I think that should say a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, okay. One more question. I'm volleying back and forth between looking at Facebook questions and looking here. Is there an age limit for G3? How young can a child have G3?
Generally speaking, the safe answer is going to be 2 and above for fruit juice, just because of the sugar and the sweetness, right? You want to introduce, some solids and some other things like that. But yeah, from a safety standpoint, 2 and above. definitely good for little kiddos to be taking.
Perfect. Tanner, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And there are few people that can condense so much information into such a short time and make such good sense of it. I really appreciate the way you can translate very complicated technical science into something everyone can understand. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it. I will look forward to what we do next.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. And you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And thanks to everybody listening today. I hope it was useful.
Take care. Bye-bye.